Hello, my name is David Keaton, and what I'm going to go over today is try to persuade you why nuclear power is a more better and safe, viable option as opposed to coal, oil, or wind or solar. First off, why is nuclear power a better option? First, it is cheaper to build and maintain. Right now, we have the ability to build nuclear reactors that are cheaper and easier to maintain than, let's say, a huge wind farm or a solar power plant. Those require massive startup costs. You have to build everything. You have to create the technology in order for it to work. Get the transmission lines going. Everything else like that. With nuclear power, we already have the technology available. We already know how it works. We already know the pitfalls for it. It is a better option. It is cheaper to produce and produces more energy per kilowatt hour than wind or solar. Also, it is a more stable oil supply, or I'm sorry, stable supply as opposed to oil or coal. Oil, as we all know, basically comes from the Middle East or more or non-friendly countries in the United States. We've used up our supply. Uranium, on the other hand, most of the world's deposits are in places like Canada or Australia, which are friendly to the United States, and we don't have to worry about them going rogue on us and saying, "Oh no, we don't want you taking our uranium," as opposed to oil, where if somebody blocks the Persian Gulf, we have an oil shortage and the prices go way up, which makes the price worse for the consumer. As I said before, nuclear power is a proven technology. The technology on build nuclear reactors has been around since the 1950s. We've been putting it on ships and submarines since the 1950s. We know how it works. We know how to use it. But there are now new types of nuclear reactors coming out, one of which is called the pebble-based reactor, which is basically a giant gumball, which basically resembles a giant gumball machine. It is filled with uranium or plutonium balls that is surrounded by graphite. What this has the effect of is, instead of uranium fuel rods going through and having water cool them down, you can use air to cool it down, which means you do not have to worry about steam leaks, massive water piping, all the other things that we now have with nuclear reactors. Another side effect is the byproduct from these gumballs, or from these balls, is once it's done, it is still radioactive, but is not able to be turned into weapons grade radioactivity material. So places like Iran or North Korea cannot use this type of technology to create a nuclear weapon grade uranium or plutonium if they wanted to. Safety of nuclear reactors has always been a major concern. Everybody understands that. Most everybody here remembers Chernobyl, and a few of us remember 3 Mile Island. Those two were the two that everybody really remembers, as I said. At 3 Mile Island, the system worked as it was supposed to. The system detected the leak and shut down the reactor with a minimum amount of with a minimum amount of radioactive leakage. Studies showed that actually you get more radioactive and radiation from a tanning bed for an hour than you would have from the release at 3 Mile Island. Chernobyl, on the other hand, was completely different. This was caused by a massive human error from the Soviet system. They were supposed to have a test run that day, which kept getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back until it was done on the midnight shift with engineers who had no idea how the test was supposed to be run, and they were already shorthanded. So when the test got out of control, they did not know how to fix it. And the system exorbiated itself because it did not know how to fix the problem that it was having. Also, in the United States, we have to remember, in the Navy especially, we have nuclear-powered aircraft carriers and submarines. I live near Norfolk, Virginia. We have at least 3 nuclear reactors running or there at all times, either from an aircraft carrier or a submarine. I have no problem going onto the base. I do not glow at night. I don't I don't have a low sperm count, any of that other stuff. Also, there have been 2 submarine accidents in the United States Navy since we went to nuclear power for submarines. The USS Thresher and the USS Scorpion. Both were imploded and their reactors are now sitting at the bottom of the Atlantic. Studies have shown that the radiation of those 2 areas is no different than the background radiation from normal sea life. In conclusion, nuclear power is a viable option for our future. It is the only one that we can do today that can give us the power we need to use what we have to use. Wind and solar can in future possibly work and possibly be better, but right now they are not cost effective. Thank you. This concludes my speech, and have a nice day.